Anyway, what else did I have for you? Yeah, we were looking at the Meta Watch. We were having a look at the Meta Watch. So, Games Workshop put out an article the other day. They're basically, this video that we were watching about rock, paper, scissors, the meta of rock, paper, scissors, basically goes into like what, it's essentially explaining what the meta is and how they analyze it. And it's basically exactly what JCM does, and they probably just steal all his work. Because they say they look at all results that they can find. They look at BCP results, or they say popular apps, and obviously because they own the ITC now, they're obviously looking at BCP because that's the main app to submit results to the ITC. So they'll be looking at all of that data, they'll be scraping all that data. This is the data that they've come out with, and it is pretty close. If we do a comparison, Tyranid season win rate with 1,349 games, 58%. This is last week's data, but then if you look at MetaWatch, they're 59%. Harley Quinn's on theirs is 58%. Harley Quinn's on JCM's 59%. And theirs is 58. So we're looking at data that is only 1% out from Games Workshops. This is 200,000 games played, and they do say that they only look at the last few weeks. They don't look at the entire season. They don't look at the entire Nephilim pack. They're looking at a few weeks behind, so they're looking about 100 days. So it might be that they're looking at the entire season, but they've alluded to saying they're only looking at the most recent games. Does this have total games? So this has 17,000 games in total. And then Games Workshop is looking at 200,000. So I don't know where else they're getting their data from, because JCM follows a lot of the biggest ones, but we're looking at 10% of the data that they are claiming to have. And we're getting very, very similar results, you know? They're looking at RTTs. Ah, that's a good point. So yeah, even though we look, the JCM only has like 10% of this data, the data is very, very close, which shows that we're looking at very up-to-date data. But what I'm saying is even with like a smidgen of the data, by only looking at GTs from JCM, the data is very close. Like Yanari at 55%. Let's check it on here. 56%, usually 1% out. Adeptus Sororitas 54%. Let's have a look at Sisters of Battle on here. 51. So that's quite a big drop, but it's also still very close. So that like margin of error, even though there's less data, is still very, very good. So what it means is, off Games Workshop, we've got it under control. I'm doing Meta Watch. Meta Watch is my job. Every single Monday, 200 of you tune in for me to watch Meta. I don't need you to come into Meta Watch. I'm doing it myself. This video should just say, Mikey's doing a great job, so we're going to do a video as well. Terrible. They're trying to steal my job. They took our job. Yeah, because again, it's quite interesting because like the data lines up to exactly what we look at every single week, right? It is comparable, so we can look at this and we can look at this and we can trust that our data that we're looking at on well, like not our data, like JCM's data that we look at. The data that we look at is pretty much bang on to what Games Workshop is also looking at to balance the game. So when we come out and we say Leagues of Votann have a 90% win rate, they're fucking dumb. Games Workshop are also looking at that, which is very, very good. And it's very good because it's kind of like a peace of mind, right? That when we go, oh my God, they're fucking winning every event, this is so dumb. They're also seeing that. They're also looking at the exact same data sets, getting the same win rates out. And they're actually, like we analyze win rates and how we look at the win rates every single week, Games Workshop are also looking at them and they're looking at the same one, which is good. If this table was completely out to what JCM covers every single week, if it was completely off, you know, Tyranids were really low and stuff like that, then you'd be like, what the fuck is going on here? But at the same time, if it was really high, you'd be like, what the fuck is going on here? But because it's so close to what we're looking at every week, when we come out and say this army's really busted, we're not wrong. And Games Workshop know that. So what can I say? Games Workshop are finally listening, and you're so welcome. Most influential YouTuber in 40k. Again, what can I say? Whatever I do, Games Workshop are always one step behind. I am the best YouTuber, so become a green name right now. Can you confirm what Gigi said about Space Marine having a low win rate because it's mainly played by bad players? I can confirm that because I remember that section.
Around Space Marines, where again the numbers don't tell the whole picture. We have to like legacy number of games.
Hey, Popcorn, thanks for the 2, man. Really appreciate it. Mikey could confirm that Space Marine players are bad. Look at his LGT results. Steve, stop bullying me.
Everyone's got them, and they're quite often most people's first army. And most people, when they first start playing, aren't that great. competitively. Some of us after 25
Fair,
years still aren't. Yeah. So there's an interesting thing around Space Marines where, again, the numbers don't tell the whole picture. We have to take and look at things like Space Marines and some of the other really popular armies and think, what else is going on under there? You know, are there a lot of players playing Space Marines for the first time or early on in their hobby journey? Space Marines are a relatively straightforward army to use. Is that impacting the numbers in some way? Course, yeah. Whereas Harlequins, for example, a bit more specialised, quite a tricky army to master, but in the hands of a good player are amazing. Does that skew their numbers slightly in a way that the way they play appeals to people who see the game as a puzzle to solve, whereas people who see the game as an excuse to push some toy soldiers around, maybe less so?
They play orcs, don't they?
They play orcs, like all right-thinking people should.
There we go. Games Workshop confirmed that you are just bad with Space Marines. That's why Space Marines have a shit win rate. They just said that Space Marines have a 39% win rate because you fucking suck. Oh, mate. Oh, boy. But what they're saying is, chat, these armies are alright. Adeptus Mechanicus are problematic because they are shit, but Space Marines are only shit because you're shit. That's what they're saying. They're saying all Space Marine players are kind of shit. No, it is right, you know, because Space Marines are a hugely played faction, because they are the poster boys, you are going to get a more varied win rate, because you are going to get a mixture of people like me who are professionals and win all their games fairly, and then get claimed that you're being a cheat when you weren't. And then you're going to get the noob, the first-time player who's just gone out with their first army, the first tournament, they're playing Space Marines, they've painted them up as Ultramarines, they've been watching all the videos, and they're going to do really bad. And that's okay to say, because that will happen. And that will happen with a lot of factions, but it's very obvious with Space Marines to say, because Space Marines are one of the most played factions every single week. Where it doesn't quite line up is like Necrons. They have a very large player base, but their win rate is pretty high. It's pretty stable, which probably says that even though they're one of the most played factions every single week, they still have a really good win rate. That probably says that the faction is a little bit far too tuned. It's a little bit high. It's highly tuned compared to an average faction, you know. But then, as he says, like Genes to the Cults are played by like a very, very small community and have a low win rate. But there's not a lot of players to look at to actually like go, actually they need tuning. If we buff them too much, all these people who are still doing kind of well with them will do even better. But the number of players won't improve. So yeah. So basically, Games Workshop say Space Marines are shit because you're shit, but they're also right. You do the balanced data slates too, like what they did with Tau, Custers, and Clouds. Exactly. I'm literally always doing their job. They're always one step behind. I released my balanced data slate. A week later, they released theirs. I've been doing Meta Watch and JCM's been doing all the work, and I've just been reading it out. But JCM's done all the work, and I've been reading out the meta. They're just stealing it from other people as well. It's exactly the same. I'm always one step ahead. So I'm the watcher. I'm the meta watcher because I just watch it. I don't actually do any data. I do all the data for Age of Sigmar, but I'm the meta watcher. I think it is a good video. It's kind of like if you didn't understand anything that we do on a Monday, you watch this video and now you do. It kind of explains like what win rates are, why they use them, what they're looking at, which is it's actually a really insightful video. I'm the meta watcher, they're not, okay?